Welcome to Bridgewater State University.
Welcome. My name is Todd Audiatis. I'm the Associate Dean of Admission here at Bridgewater State University, and thank you for joining us for our out-of-state student webinar. So we're hoping to provide you with some information that allows you to make a more informed decision about whether you'd like to enroll here with us at Bridgewater, and give you some insights as to what it's like to be a student here from out of state at Bridgewater State University. I will be joined by several of our current students who have enrolled here from out of state, so you can get the student's perspective on the experience of being here. If you could please share with us your first name, class year, major, and your home state.
My name is Mackenzie. I'm a sophomore majoring in communication studies with a concentration in public relations, and I'm from northern Minnesota.
Awesome. I'm from New Hampshire. That's the biggest thing. Live free or die. So any New Hampshire residents, happy to see you. But I'm Reed. I'm an accounting finance major with an accounting concentration as of right now. And I'm class of 2021.
Excellent.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a junior. My major is psychology, and my home state is originally Maryland, but I currently live in Rhode Island.
And my name is Brian. I'm a physical education major, class of 2020, and I'm from New Jersey.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys. So my first question is, aside from the introductions, is how did you first become aware of BSU in your college search? I mean, I would imagine there's some patterns coming out of your high school students going to particular schools, and how did you hear about Bridgewater at first? Anybody want to start us off?
I think Minnesota's the farthest.
Yeah, you got to tell us.
I think that would.
So, I actually have an aunt that lives in Boston, and I've been traveling here since I was like a little baby, like visiting my family and stuff. We're super close. But I always knew I wanted to come to college somewhere on the East Coast, and I just honestly started looking up schools. Like, and Bridgewater just popped up, and I just clicked it, and that's how I first came to know of it. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it was online.
Thank you for sharing that.
I came to know Bridgewater because, so for high school, when you do the AP exams, there's the College Board website, and I was like on that website, and there was a college searcher like finder, like that had all the colleges like I think in the world, or just in this country, and I just filtered it. It had like on the side like filters if you wanted to live on campus, if you wanted a certain major, how big you wanted the school, like anything you could think of. And so I just filtered all the things I wanted. And Bridgewater like came up, and I was like, oh, this is like a perfect match with all my things, and so that's how I came to know it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so it kicked up a bunch of schools from around the country. Bridgewater happened to be one of them, and it fit the bill. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Guys, want to share?
Sure. I actually, when I was applying to schools, I didn't want to fill out the Common App. I was very against it. I don't know why. I was like, I wanted a school with an application I could sign, and that would be different than all the other answers to specific questions.
Yeah.
So my cousin had talked about her dual major in special education, and I really wanted to be a teacher. I had taught for 3 years privately, the violin, and I decided that that was the career path I wanted to pursue. Obviously that changed since then, but I really liked the programming, and it was the best teaching school in Massachusetts, and so I decided that I would go with Bridgewater.
So then your cousin came here, is that?
Yes, she did.
Oh, okay, great. So
Yeah.
you had a relationship with somebody who was here, and they could give you a testimonial. Okay, excellent.
I also found Bridgewater from the internet, so I had certain things that I was looking for with the school, and it needed to have a good educational program. It had to be the same price as colleges in New Jersey. And I was looking for a wrestling team, so I was going to be on the wrestling team, but I didn't do wrestling, so go figure. And I had 3 schools I was looking at, and this was the only school I came to visit. So.
No kidding. Wow. Okay. Well, that's great. It's helpful for me, obviously, as an admissions professional. But there may be elements of your story of how you found Bridgewater that resonates with students who are watching. So. We talked about how you became aware of Bridgewater, but what initially attracted you here? So you see it on the list, but what gave you the incentive to actually seriously consider it? And then, to jump a little further ahead in the college search process, what was the one thing that sealed the deal for you? What made what prompted you to say, that's the place, I'm going there? Assuming you applied to other places, probably got admitted to other places. So, what initially attracted you? What sealed the deal?
I'll start. For me, it was the education program. I too I wanted to always be a teacher. Also changed my mind, but Bridgewater's known for their education program, obviously. So that's what really attracted me to the school. For sealing the deal, my senior year, Thanksgiving break, I came out and I toured, and the first step I took on this campus, I just felt it. You know what I mean? Like when they say when you know, I really did feel it. I felt the community. I felt that I really could be a part of this school. So.
Well, that's great. The tour does really help. I mean, we all put beautiful people in our brochures and on our website and what have you, but you don't get the authentic feel until you put feet on the ground there. So, that's great. Anyone else care to weigh in?
Sure. Yeah. I don't think that I would have enjoyed BSU as much as if they didn't have the variety of programs that they do.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge pull for me because I decided that I may change my mind when I get here. And that's what ended up happening for me and Mackenzie, is that I switched from education to accounting, two wildly different majors. So if they didn't have such a good accounting program, I wouldn't have been able to stay. But because Bridgewater gave me that opportunity, and they have internships available too in the business department, I was able to stay and call Bridgewater my home.
Yeah, no, that's great. And the phenomenon of you guys changing majors, it's not uncommon. And I've seen numbers published nationally, anywhere between 50 and 80% of college students change their major once, twice, or as many as 3 times. And as shocked as I am about that, I changed my major, so honestly, I don't know why I'm surprised. But what's nice is in Bridgewater, the average is about 44%, so we're well below the national average. But, with 36 different majors and 90 different areas of study, you've got a lot of latitude, which again is a benefit of a mid-sized school. If everything else fits and you change your major, you don't necessarily have to change your campus, which is kind of nice. So, well, thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, you guys, so what initially attracted you? What sealed the deal?
For me, what initially attracted me was that it was not too far from home. At the time when I was applying, I lived in Massachusetts, and it was not far at all, but it was also when I was doing the application. I don't know, I was on the website, and it looked so nice, and they had so many pictures, and I don't know, I think it was really the campus of how it looked.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go, and I tried to schedule a tour because I just wanted to see it in person so bad. I didn't get to, but that was kind of what my initial, it was kind of shallow, but I was like,
no, not
it
at
looks
all.
so pretty, and but what sealed the deal for me once I was accepted and I was so happy was the financial aid packet, because I had gotten into other schools. This was actually the only school in Massachusetts that I applied to, and I got in, so I was like, oh yes, because I didn't really want to go out of state, but so it was really the financial aid packet, and that just sealed the deal. I was like, yes.
Yeah, no, that's great, because affordability is a big issue. When I find myself talking with prospective students, especially when you consider some of our largest majors. I mean, education, psychology, criminal justice, 3 of our 4 most popular majors, business management being the 4th, they all go into the helping professions. And honestly, I don't care where you go to school, you're not making 6 figures when you graduate with a degree in those 3 areas. You're not. I mean, you may eventually, I hope students do, but if you rack up 6 figures worth of student loan debt, how long is it going to take you to service that on a teacher's salary, or a correctional officer's salary, or social? It seriously can limit whether you can even take a job like that. But how you get to that job, new car, used car, bus pass, you know what I mean? It's going to have immediate impact, because life after college unfortunately doesn't offer financial aid. And financial aid can be amazing, but you got to be careful of how you're managing the debt.
I think that speaks in numbers when you look at how many people graduate and go into a job in their field.
Yeah.
As you showed in the
that's a good point. 76%. So they can still afford that opportunity to pursue, their passion for making a difference. So I appreciate you sharing that, because affordability it's a huge factor for us. We work hard to manage that, but it's also a big reason why a lot of students enroll here. Yeah. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I would say it was just a leap of faith for me, because I never went to go visit any college other than Bridgewater. Bridgewater was my first college I came to visit.
Yep.
So I just took a day off of work one day and just shot all the way up here. And then when I got up here, I made friends with like the tour guide, and it was kind of cool to meet everyone. And then what sealed the deal is my room deposit would have had to have been submitted the day I was there. So I was like, all right, I'll submit my $300 deposit, and then I was kind of like locked in from it. Then
Oh
then
my
I was
gosh!
like,
That was like an impulse
now I
buy.
gotta stay here. I guess they got me.
Yeah, right. They got my money. I can't get it back. Might as well show up.
I took 2 years off of college, so I was a little late in the game. So I came in the spring semester.
Oh, how interesting. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's really cool, though. That's yeah. It was a bit of a leap of faith. I mean, you're driving up here like that, and you saw it, and you just knew.
Yeah.
It's one of the nice features of coming to campus too, is that it has that classic New England college feel. I mean, one of the advantages to being 178 years old, and we don't have any of the original buildings, but you come out to the quad and you see Boyden with the pillars and the cupola and the brick and the ivy climbing up the side of Tilly. It's like you're like, yeah, this is what going to college in New England should feel like, And then you've got the more updated facilities, $100 million science building, Wagon, Crimson Hall, the new residence halls. But everything's been redone in the past 15, 20 years. There's no like rundown, shabby chic. You come onto this campus, you're like, yeah, this is what college should be. This is it. So I'm glad you guys experienced that too, and that you had good experiences on your tours and that sort of a thing. Yeah, it's important. Well, good. Okay, so our next question is, describe the transition for you to campus life out of state. I assume it's probably different for each of you in different ways. So what was it like going away from home like that into a different state and starting fresh?
I don't mind starting.
There's a pattern developing.
Yeah. So Minnesota's 26 hours by car away from here. So I hopped on a plane in end of August, and I never looked back, seriously.
Wow,
so
that's courageous.
I lived on campus my first year and my second year. And I just was like, you don't know until you try, you know what I mean? You have no idea. So I was like, honestly, I'm just gonna go for it. And it was definitely, I had a little bit of a culture shock. I live in like a town of literally 900 people. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that transition.
That's cool.
So.
That's cool. All right.
I gotta say, I'm in the same boat. I came from a town with 1,100 people. So a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
well,
we had one stop sign or stoplight. But it was definitely a culture shock. When I first stepped on campus, I was training for a triathlon. And so at home, I used to train on my roads because you go and there wouldn't be that much traffic.
Yeah.
And so the mass amount of people shocked me. And I ended up riding my bike by Roach Bros.
Yeah.
And I had a truck pull into me. like I got hit by a truck the second day on campus.
Oh my god!
And it was off campus, like it wasn't on. It was mostly my fault.
Yeah.
So it was definitely like I cried the first 2 weeks. I missed home, but
Oh, you got hit by a truck.
yeah, I had a sprained wrist. I was sitting in my dorm like I can't even meet anybody. But I really enjoyed the supports that Bridgewater provided because I was able to talk about it with professors, and professors were like, "Oh my gosh, like let me get to know you, let me have a conversation with you. Are you all right?" And they actually really do care about their students and the community that we're involved in with the student clubs, organizations, and just the general Bridgewater population really cares about each other. And I think it's a very close community, unlike some communities that I have seen.
Yeah, so similar leap of faith, but an emotional roller coaster for you really the first few weeks.
Physical and emotional.
Even just yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the run-in with the truck literally aside, but you felt like there was support here for you. The people wanted to get to know who you were, hear your story, and you felt that you were able to establish connections through that. So okay, well that's great. Thank you for being candid. Yeah. So what was it like for you guys to transition?
For me, the transition was interesting because I had always been such a homebody, and I literally stayed at home. I did not participate in many clubs, but because in high school, and so because of that, I was so dead set on doing everything when I got to BSU. I was like, I'm going to join this, and this.
Yep.
I'm going to be part of this, I'm going to be in that. And so, and because I didn't live that far, I lived far enough, but not like that far. It was like about under an hour. So it was like that mixed in with that. I never really went home ever. I think I went home a total of 3 times in my first year. 2 of those being when they had to kick us out for winter break and another for spring break. So I was like never going home, and but that was because BSU was so like we, even though we are mainly a commuter school, like there's so much stuff to do on campus, and so like I never, even if I wanted to go home, like I didn't have like a really good reason. I couldn't be like, oh, there's nothing to do on campus. Like there's always something to do.
Yeah.
And I just joined I tried to join as many clubs as I could, and I tried to get to know as many people as I could. So I just immediately just found like my place, I feel like.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The transition was kind of smooth for me.
It sounds like it was an opportunity for you. You consciously wanted to try to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
So push yourself out of your comfort zone in ways that you didn't when you were in high school,
Mhm.
and this was a fresh start for you, and you were gonna be that person.
That's
And
That's so
you
true.
really were able to thrive in that identity. So that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
I would say the hardest transition for me was taking a gap off of school.
Yeah.
And academics was always a challenge for me.
Mhm.
So it was getting out of work mode and getting back into school mode was
Yeah.
always a huge challenge for me. Even though like my main goal was to just get the degree and get out of here, I didn't really want to get involved. That did not turn out how I planned, as I am pretty involved. That kind of just came. But as far as like leaving home, I have a very small family, so it's good to be away, distant. However, I was back home pretty frequently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you still kept in touch. So I'm interested in that time that you took off because, and it's funny, I worked my way through college, and in doing so during the summer, it was usually jobs like, just driving, forklifts or a short order cook. And it's funny because by the end of the summer, I was like, I am ready to go back and just sit in the classroom.
Yeah.
Like that, real work is hard, and so did you find that in taking some time off, it almost kind of gave you a different perspective on schoolwork or a different work ethic, or
yeah.
talk to me a little bit about what that was like.
I'm glad I did because that's the only way I'm funding for my college.
Good for you.
Because I'm doing it alone, so I saved up a lot of money to go to college, and then same thing during the summer times. I'll just go straight back to work over summer, get more money, and then come back and just use that for college. But it was definitely well worth it because now I have a trade skill.
Yep.
I do HVAC, and
Good
then
for
when I go to school, I'm just doing school. So
Yeah, and you can focus on what's important while you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really smart. Good for you. Awesome. So let's see, what else have I got here? Some of you guys touched upon this in your earlier answer, but I think it's worth underscoring. So how often do you guys keep in touch with family and friends or go home as an out-of-state student?
I stay in touch with my family a lot, and like I said, I have my aunt in Boston, so that's kind of a nice thing. But I talk to my family every week, and friends.
Yeah.
But I rarely go home. I go home winter break, and then summer.
Yeah.
So for holidays, I'll go visit my aunt, but that's pretty much seeing my immediate family just twice a year.
Yeah,
So,
26-hour car ride is not like going home on a long weekend.
no.
Yeah, but it's nice you have family that's nearby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So.
perfect then.
Yeah, I took a different schedule this semester, which I have only Tuesday, Thursday classes, but I'm still taking 6 classes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so I was very lucky. And what I'm able to do is, I live in New Hampshire, I'll take the T to South Station, and then there's a bus, the Concord Coach, that brings me right up to Concord.
Wow, perfect.
And so it really is, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
I think it's around probably $25 to get up there.
You pay more than that in gas. That's in total.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Yeah, on your car too, especially. But I enjoyed that because I can go home, see family. As you get into college, your relatives are getting older, and so it's good to see them and spend some quality time while you're in school in a different state. You can still do that.
Oh, that's good. Good for you. Yeah. Now, Brittany, you say your family's not that far away, right?
It's actually funny, I just realized that when you were mentioning the tea and things like that. So when I lived in Massachusetts, I lived in Fall River, and that from here to Fall River it's about 40 minutes. But now I live in Providence, Rhode Island, and it's actually easier for me to go home to Providence than it was for me to get to Fall River.
Yeah.
Because I don't drive, and my mom works a lot, and so it's I want to go home, and she can't drive me. So what I do, I would just take the commuter rail to Boston, and then from Boston to Providence, or sometimes I'm able to get like a ride from like I think the Mansfield stop, and then from there to Providence, and it's super quick and easy. It's so easy for me to go home now, and it's crazy that I had to be out of state for that to happen, as opposed to when I was in state. So
Yep, the perils of public transportation, you're right, that whole South Coast, there's nothing
Exactly.
from here to there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
yeah, and but then again, I don't go home as much because I love campus. So.
Yeah.
Times when I do, like it's easy.
Yep.
This was a little bit of a challenge for me. I don't go home unless I really have to. But up until my first 2 years, I went home every single weekend.
Yeah.
So I would drive home to New Jersey every weekend to work, take care of my mom. It's just me and my mom.
Yep.
And then this was the first year I didn't really go home every single weekend, but I'll still just go whenever I'm needed. Usually summertime.
Mhm.
I'll be there during summer, winter, during breaks. You get a lot of time to think during the car ride, so I
bet.
enjoy it. It's not
It
bad.
was about 6 hours, you said?
5.5.
5.5,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about long enough, yeah,
Yeah.
especially when you have to get through New York City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take the tap and see. I don't go through.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. George Washington's a killer.
Yeah.
So that's good, and it sounds like, for you, especially, like, you probably went home more often when you first got here, and less often more now recently, and so you get more comfortable being a part of the community. So, which is a nice segue to my next question, which is, do any of you guys feel like this is home now? And if so, when did that happen for you?
I'll start again. No, this is definitely home. Like I think when I was in Minnesota, I loved growing up there. Wouldn't change it for the world. But I was ready for something new. Like I've always been like a go-getter. I've always liked to try new things and stuff. And I was ready for change, and this is exactly the change that I needed.
Yeah.
I think so. Beginning of college is always a little bit of a struggle, obviously, for everyone. But I think it was the end of my first year. I had made so many connections that I never thought I would have made. Like, got so involved so quickly, and like I had a life here. And then I had to go back I went back to Minnesota for the summer, and I was like, I don't want to leave.
You missed it. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So yeah, it's definitely this is my life now. So yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that's great to hear.
I can go second.
Yeah, you're second.
The order. It was when did we feel like this was home?
Yeah. Do you feel like this is now home, and at what point did that occur for you?
Yes, I so feel like this is home. I remember freshman year when it was time to like leave campus. I was sad, and I was like, oh my god, when I leave, like, is there somehow I could stay over the summer? Like, I was actually a little part of me was contemplating that. But yeah, I guess that was freshman year, honestly, the end of it, and then yeah, it feels like home so much. Like I think about like me graduating, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss like BSU. And I'm gonna be such like a crazy alumni. Like, that was my place. I like lived here. I did this, and yeah.
There's always graduate school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely home.
Well, that's great. Did it happen for either of you guys?
Yeah, I know the exact moment
Oh
that I felt like Bridgewater was home. I went home for the weekend, and it was probably my second semester. And I looked at my phone, and I was trying to get directions back home because I was trying to go home for the weekend. And it said, home, 0.2 miles away. I was like,
Yeah, that happens to us.
Well, I'm still on campus.
like, this isn't, wait a second, is this home? And I think that looking back on it, that was the moment I knew, I'm like, I'm involved in this community now. And it's not just Bridgewater, it's the state of Massachusetts, the East Coast, up in Boston, like you have so many opportunities, and you just it becomes a part.
The first thing I joined on campus was Best Buddies.
Yeah.
It's the we promote friendship and inclusion all around campus and in the community of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I was an associate buddy last year, and then I was a peer buddy last semester, and I'm an associate buddy this semester. And I'm also a sister of Phi Sigma Sigma, one of our sororities on campus. With that, I'm a part of GAC, which is the Greek Activities Committee. It promotes like the Greek unity of all the organizations on campus. And I am also, I just got elected to be the Vice President of Programming for the Pan-Hellenic Association,
Good
which
for
is
you.
the governing board of all of the Pan-Hellenic organizations on campus.
For all
So,
Greek life, yeah, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
so,
Yeah, so I wear a couple different hats on and off campus. My first semester I was able to attend a internship at UPS in HR.
Okay.
So that's actually what influenced my major change. I worked there last year during the fall, and I was recruiting. I was helping hiring people, running backgrounds. Yeah, it was really
Real responsibility. That's
yeah,
awesome.
and actually the second year, which was this last fall, I recruited 2 BSU seniors to
cool.
be as on the intern team with me, and I was helping guide them and how to do what they do.
Excellent.
And so I also am on the honors marketing team. So I do the graphics and I do the social media for them. So BSU honors, follow us. I love to see the likes. And I'm also part of Sigma Pi, and I am looking to be a part of the Accounting and Finance Club, and I want to start a DECA chapter. It's the first time I've said that.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would really like to.
It's out there now. It's public
Yeah,
record.
it's
You gotta
public.
do it.
I gotta follow through now, But
That's great.
I really want to promote, the business and business college as much as you can, because it's a needed, thing for the community.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, I'm in a lot of, well, not so much now, I've cut back just a small bit, but I was in a lot of different clubs and just different things on campus. I was part of the African Student Association, African American Society, Sister Scholars, Alpha Omega. I am fortunate enough to, shameless plug, to be
Do it.
one of 13 charter members for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Very cool.
So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, and which is a historically black sorority, and that was like amazing. Honestly, that's a big thing of why a chapter here. That was crazy. So Alpha Kappa Alpha is that's one of my main ones, honestly. And I was also a student clinician at the Children's Physical Development Clinic on campus, which is like a clinic that helps with children ages young to 18 years old.
Yeah, like elementary school
yeah.
through 18, yeah.
Yeah, who have disabilities. And that was really fun.
And just to take a moment, so that's like Saturday mornings, right?
Yes.
They're physically disabled, you're getting them in the pool for physical activity, like one-on-one, and doing stuff that they couldn't do under their own power, right? And it's actually our most popular volunteer activity on this
I was
campus.
just gonna say my 2 roommates actually did the
Oh
program
my
this semester. They loved it.
Yeah, and what time do you guys get out of bed on a Saturday?
So we had to be there at 7:30 a.m.
Seriously, I can't get my high school kid out of bed at 7:30 on a Saturday.
Exactly.
So you're doing this every Saturday through the semester to help kids, again, like you don't even know.
Yeah.
To help them have this moment of like having fun in a pool and being active like other kids.
Yeah.
That's really, thank you for doing that. Yeah, it's a great activity. It's really impressive.
It was so I remember my last week doing it, and the kid I was partnered with, I did not want to leave her. Oh, I still miss her to this day. And yeah, I loved that.
I bet.
It was awesome.
And I'm sorry I hopped in, but were there other things you wanted to mention in addition to the
I'm trying to
CPDC?
think. I'm also a student employee at the Center for Multicultural Affairs on campus. That's another home within a home here at BSU. So yeah, that's all. Right now.
Fun fact, we're actually the only state school in New England that has a clinical program. So I also do CPDC.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a great program.
Yeah.
40 years that's been in existence here.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Applications, if you need some.
Yep. Definitely recommend it.
So yeah, we're all in Greek life. I just realized that. I'm
Yeah,
also part
right?
of Greek life.
Okay.
I work for Res Life as an RA. I'm working with the freshmen in Shea Durgan, and I work for the Division of Operations in Boyden.
No kidding.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm the only student worker there.
Wow. And what do you do with them?
I give them like moral support. That's kind of my job. No.
That's great. I'm sure they could use it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great office to work for.
Yeah.
I am. What else?
Yeah. We can start naming them if you want.
Yeah, right. So many you tend to forget.
Yeah, my brain's not working.
Boston.
Yes.
Yes. Listen, I know you're right. Better than
You guys go ahead and take over. There's a lot of mentoring programs on campus.
Yeah.
So MIB was actually the first thing I ever was a part of. MIB's Men Integrated in Brotherhood, and my orientation leader actually introduced me to that club when I first came here. And through that program, I got more resources.
Yep.
So I started 3 mentoring programs. I did the Randolph mentoring program, Fan for Change, which is another mentoring program for high school students in Brockton, and then 100 Miles to College. Again, that's working with the Brockton School District too. So a lot of opportunities there.
Wow, man. It's amazing I got you guys to come out here tonight. It sounds like you got enough activities going
I
on.
almost forgot, Brian just mentioned, when he said orientation, I'm also part of O-Team, so I'll
There
be
you
staying on campus this summer and helping the new Bears
Great.
find their way.
Yeah, any
so,
of our audience who decides to enroll here, you
yeah,
can look
orientation,
forward
I'll
to
see you there.
seeing a familiar face. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, and I love that, you guys, you came, to a college from out of state, everyone's in a similar boat. I don't care if you come from the next town over, everybody's in a strange and new situation. And you rose to the occasion, you've gotten incredibly involved, you guys are leaders on this campus, and, and you're identifying now more with Bridgewater than anywhere else in terms of it being your home. And I can definitely see that with the excitement that you guys have in recounting all that you do here, so thank you for doing that. So as we wind down here to the last 7 or so minutes, what parting words of wisdom, what advice do you guys have for similar students who are considering enrolling here at Bridgewater from outside of Massachusetts? So what advice do you have for our audience if they decide to come? What was the secret to your success?
My advice is go for it. You literally have no idea what's out there unless you do something, you know what I mean? Do something different. You have your whole life to stick to a routine in your career, but this is the time that you can change your mind. Like we said, we both, you changed your major how many times? 4? So, you know what I mean? There's so many, this is the time to try stuff new and trial and error. There's so many doors out there, they're just waiting to be opened. Just go do it.
It's great.
Yeah.
If I can go off
Yeah,
of
of
that
course.
too, as many as opportunities as they are, pick and choose, and also don't be afraid to choose a different opportunity. Because if you don't trial and error those different opportunities, you're not going to find the right one that's for you. And there's so many job opportunities for students, and they're all different. And so if you go between opportunities, you can find different skill sets. So experiment. If you need to quit one, but move on to the next, and make sure that you're always advancing and show your progress.
Yep. No, that's great. That's great. So don't get discouraged with things that don't necessarily work out or setback. That it's
Things aren't going to work out.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out the way you planned it.
Yeah.
But something's going to work out well as long as you make the most of it. Yeah. Well, good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel and what you said was just going for it because I feel BSU is perfect enough to where you can go there, you can come here and do what you want, and let's say it doesn't work out, it won't be the end of the world. You could transfer, though you probably won't want to. I think it's it has everything for everybody, a little bit of something. So my advice would be to really take advantage of that. There's so many resources, so many things that the school offers that the world is endless. Your possibilities are limitless. And so don't be afraid to try something new and to just live your life here and experience life.
I would say, especially being an out-of-state student, you have the opportunity to, you're not going to school with people who you grew up with next door. Because for me, I'm here, I didn't know a single person when I came here. However, I think I would have been different in my classes and in my interactions with people if I were with people who I grew up with.
Sure.
So, one of my professors actually said this. He says, a a lot of people who are in classes, they don't speak up, or they don't want to volunteer, and they're scared of what people think about them.
Yep.
Don't be that student. Like, literally just volunteer, don't be shy, ask a lot of questions, and really just interact with people, because that interaction will give you more advice down the road, or more opportunities down the road too, simply by starting a conversation.
No, I love it. That's great advice. Yeah, very, very good advice. I appreciate you guys being so generous with your time tonight. I know you guys are all really busy, and as you're winding up the semester towards finals and so forth, there's obviously a lot of demands on your time. But hopefully this has been worthwhile for our audience. And I would just say that, so out-of-state students, if you are on the fence even after having heard our wonderful panelists tonight, definitely try to make your decision sooner rather than later. If you care for an extension on that deadline, do contact the admissions office. Contact information is up here on the screen behind us. But we hope you give serious consideration to joining us here at Bridgewater State University next fall as one of our new incoming students. And again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. But thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.
Thank you.
Every day's a great day to be a bear.